If you're wondering how to hire a virtual assistant in your insurance agency, you're in good company. This role demands a very specific skill set, and figuring out whether someone has what it takes can be tough. With our process, we generate a 90% employee retention rate. This means that 90% of the virtual assistants that we've placed with companies stay with them for 5 years or more. So clients aren't constantly having to replace the talent we find for them. Instead, they're building long-term relationships with the VAs who quickly become a trusted part of their team. Recently, I was invited along with leaders from 19 other businesses from around the world to attend a hackathon in New York City. Here, I met several people who provided virtual staffing services in different parts of the world, but they struggled with retention, with rates ranging from 50 to 70%. Keeping staff on board is a real struggle. Now, I don't want to be, that guy, the one who smugly says, I don't have that problem, but I know this is a real struggle for a lot of businesses, probably the majority of them. But the conversations we had at that event led me to connect the dots for a few different things of why our retention is so high. Now I'm going to share some of the main components of our process that make it so successful. Here are some key elements to our process that I think does make us successful in this area. Hiring virtual assistants for an insurance agency or as an executive assistant requires careful planning. This boils down to choosing someone with the right combination of skills, experience, and values, and then setting them up for success. First thing is understanding the client's needs. This is the very first thing that we do. We work hard to understand our clients' needs inside and out. The VAs we hire have experience in various dimensions of the industry, from business insurance to personal insurance. Our process starts with getting to know who our client is. And talking with them, we gain the sense of who they are and what personal qualities would be the best fit for them with a VA. We ask about their pain points, pinpointing the challenges that a virtual assistant can help solve. For instance, clients working in commercial lines might be dealing with an extremely slow quoting process, or they might be experiencing utter chaos with the renewal prep. In personal insurance, they may just have an inconsistent renewal process because staffs are just completely swamped. We map out distinct sets of challenges a client is facing. Then we share these insights with the hiring team to make sure they get it right. Second thing that we do is matching the right person with the client. Whatever issues the client is facing, we'll look for a VA who can handle them. Here's how we do that. The foundation starts with evaluating role fit. During this stage, a candidate completes a role-specific assessment of how their skills and their aptitudes will match up to this role. Assuming all looks good, they'll undergo an email interview answering some questions on their background and their interests. We consider their experience as a virtual assistant for insurance agencies within a very specific area of focus, like commercial or personal lines. We have a detailed playbook for each VA's role, outlining key tasks, making sure we have alignment with the assessment. It also clarifies expectations for both the client and the VA. For example, an executive assistant would handle like travel bookings or managing your email inbox, whereas a VA for commercial insurance would handle prepping quotes and doing comparisons, among other tasks. Another important part of the process is assessing cultural fit. Next, we conduct a deeper interview, delving into deeper questions on communication, values, and working style. This gives us a better sense of the candidate's personality. Our skilled team knows the right questions to ask whenever they're hiring a virtual assistant to assess their cultural fit. We also get to know recruits better through live virtual interviews with our team. At this stage, we'll ask about their handling of different scenarios and challenges in the past. We'll also learn more about their working style, communication preferences, and then also their personal ethics. A key to this is confirming overall needs alignment. After the above steps, we compare our assessments of the candidates against the agency's needs. We look at whether their past performance, personality, and skills align with the agent's pain points, culture, and also their systems. If they look like an ideal fit, we'll present the candidate profile to the client, sharing our recommendations when we introduce new recruits, 85% of the clients choose the very first hire that we handpick for them. Toward the end of the process, we'll perform a background check to ensure the recruit's trustworthiness. We then get payroll set up through Payoneer, ensuring a smooth onboarding process. The third part of our process is integrating virtual assistants into the team. We help companies foster a supportive culture that makes VAs immediately feel like a valued part of the team. Early on, we realized that this was a key element that many of our competitors and other companies just simply overlooked. When a company hires a virtual employee, they're often the only team member working remotely. A manager gives them a list of tasks and then forgets about them. So they don't really have a chance to become an integrated part of the team. In fact, people might only reach out to them whenever they want to know, well, where's this? Or when will you have this task done? This creates stress for the virtual employee. They feel undervalued and unrecognized, and no one comments on their skills or their contributions. This is a big problem across the industry. Countless companies don't realize what they're doing here. But in our early days, our staff member, Hannah, began consistently holding check-ins with all of our virtual employees we'd hire to make sure that they felt supported instead of forgotten. This was something that she just intuitively did, and her check-ins changed the whole game for us. Now, we're all following her lead, using the best practices that she has already been modeling. We also coach our clients on how to integrate VAs into the team. This all contributes to a great onboarding process for the virtual insurance assistant. But also, it's more than just onboarding. It's a set of cultural practices that shape how our team works for years to come. For my own part, I never give my assistant, Sai, a chance to feel forgotten. Sai is my executive assistant. She helps me in so many different ways with my email and with my calendar and just keeping me on task of things I need to focus on. She's a core part of our business, to say the least. She is definitely a core part of the business. There's no way I could have the time to dedicate 80% of my time to those key things that I need to be doing, such as marketing, being the face of the company, sales, and just working on strategic things, if I didn't have Sai doing all the admin stuff for me and keeping me on task. And we talk about how we can bring this culture into all of the interactions with our clients. She brings vital insight to these conversations that make us stronger as a company. For us, our high retention equals high satisfied clients. Client satisfaction has propelled the majority of our growth. A full 90% of our expansion has stemmed from referrals by clients who love the virtual employees. We're not hearing our clients say our VA isn't checking in or completing tasks. Instead, they're telling us about how their VA has enhanced their business. One of our clients recently reached out and said, Bella has been such a blessing to our team. Client retention has increased by 8% since she joined the team. She just jumped in and took ownership of that part of the business and has really made a massive difference. With a high success rate, we don't often lose clients, but once a client did leave because he wanted his VA to provide a service that we just couldn't offer. We're clear and upfront about the duties our virtual assistants can handle. And he wanted something that just fell outside of our fairly broad skill set. Then 3 months later, he wanted to talk. He was now on his third VA with the company that he moved to and was asking if the original VA that he had hired through us was still available. Well, that VA was not. We moved him on to another agency where they're doing fantastic. The results of this intentional process speaks for themselves. By considering an assistant's particular skill set, experience, personality, and then cultural fit, we ensure the best possible match. The strong culture we have fostered at IA Blueprint guides all of our efforts, helping our staff work together seamlessly. The long-term partnerships emerging from this process bring mutual success for the clients and VAs, supporting companies as they scale and assistants as they build rewarding careers. Imagine having a dedicated staff member to handle many of the different core tasks that your employees find challenging and time-consuming. And imagine hiring someone who sticks around for years, contributing as a valued team member as your company scales. If you're considering how to hire your very first assistant, let's set up a conversation to get the ball rolling. As we get to know who you are and what your needs are, we'll be able to find exactly the right person for your company.